Yeah, right now we are continuing with our search and recovery operation, meaning that we are going floor by floor. It's a 5-story building, so we're going each and every floor just to make sure that it's cleared. There's no any other bodies which might be trapped along those the floors. And then after we've done that, we will be handing over this incident to South African Police Service for further investigation. At this stage, the cause of the fire is still unknown. Our fire investigating team will still have to investigate what might be the cause of the fire incident. We have activated our disaster management officials on site. They are facilitating relief for affected families. We've got our chaplaincy services also on site conducting some trauma counseling to affected residents. We've got other city stakeholders who are working together to make sure that we facilitate relief for the affected residents.
That in terms of the latest figures, where we see
about 73 fatalities and 52 people who were treated for minor injuries. Those people were transported to various healthcare facilities for further medical care in the city of Johannesburg. After we've done that, we will hand over this incident to the South African Police Service to continue with their further investigations. At this stage, we don't know what might be the cause of the fire incident. But since it's a hijacked building or an abandoned building, there might be two options here. It might be illegal connection, or it might be other heating devices which they are using, because we are told that at the time when the fire started they didn't have electricity, so it might be any other options between the ones I just mentioned in terms of the cause of the fire incident itself. But our fire investigating team, they are on site. They will be starting to conduct that fire investigations as soon as we are done with our search and recovery operation. We've also activated disaster management together with other city stakeholders who are going to assist our affected residents who are residing in this building, because you will understand that the residents who are traumatized, they will need trauma counseling, and then also further assistance in terms of emergency shelter and so on. So other city stakeholders have been activated to assist us on that regard while we continue with our search and recovery operation. And after that, we will hand over this incident to South African Police Service to continue with the investigation.
So there is a possibility that the number of people who have been injured or have died is set to increase?
Yes, there is a possibility, especially the people who the fatalities, because we still have to go through all the floors just to make sure that we don't have any other bodies which might be trapped inside that building.
The city of Johannesburg, we are saddened by what has happened. We have been talking about the illegal buildings and how we deal with them. It's just unfortunate that this incident has happened, and we really mourn the loss of lives, send our condolences to the family. But it's important that all sectors of society, they work with us. When we want to evict people because the buildings are unsafe, we don't want to have pushbacks from different organizations citing human rights, etc. Because when tragedies like this happen, they remind us that the rights of a particular sector of people cannot precede the human rights and the rights of the whole society, the city of Joburg and everybody else. This could have been avoided if we're allowed at the city of Johannesburg to do what we need to do in dealing with these hijacked and illegal buildings. And at this stage, I think what is important is to ensure that the families that are here, the survivors, are treated and they're given alternative space where they can be housed. The deceased are treated with the dignity they deserve. The families that are mourning are assisted, and we're able to offer whatever assistance that we can offer as a city, whether it's burial or counseling or shelter. We'll look into all of that. So for now, we're just trying to figure out what is it that has happened, the extent of the damage as well.
Speaker, sorry, you mentioned that this wouldn't have happened if you were allowed to do your job. Who exactly is hindering you from doing your job?
Look, I'm not going to specify the details. There are many processes that are involved in evicting people from illegal buildings. It's like any informal settlement that mushrooms. After 3 to 6 weeks, you can't evict those people, whether they are services or not, whether they're built by the floodlines or not. So it becomes the rights of a certain sector of people overriding the rights of the city to do its job and everybody else that is impacted in the process when something happens. This is not different from the floods that we have every year, where people just build willy-nilly where they want to with information.
We said we called everyone in and we checked the city. Listen, we can't move all of you. We're going to do it piece by piece, floor by floor. It happened there. So it's actually happening, but very slow. But we said, instead of us now, leadership, of blaming each other, right now, there is a plan in place. And the press conference will come, and the leadership of promise will come in, will tell you what have we done, and the successes that we've done, and the frustrations. It's really, really sad for us. This actually has to come to achieve. There are many of them, we know. But we are doing something. One, you know, we've actually done it, and we said there are that. We've seen all of them. We've done them, the checks. We have reports from the EMS, from every GFIX. They've been working day in, day out. But they are, instead of them being able to take people out, they are taken to court every time. Yes. Thank you.
Your comment on that, yeah.
Yeah, the hijacked and derelict and abandoned buildings in the CBDs or in this province, it is a serious concern for us. But it's something which needs to be dealt with in a holistic manner. For example, the council, they are the people who must have a database, who are the owners of those buildings. And surely they must firstly hold the owners of those buildings accountable. If they abandon it, let them follow the legal processes to ensure that either they expropriate those buildings and then they may decide as a council as to what to do. But again, there are components within the municipalities who are responsible to do the different types of inspections in those buildings. For example, the fire department must check, the health department must check whether those buildings are in compliance with the regulation and the bylaws of the city, and failure thereof, they know exactly what to do. Amongst the others, they may declare that building to be unsafe for human habitation. So, therefore, everybody who's in there need to be evacuated, taken elsewhere, and then the building be sealed off completely so that people, they mustn't go back into that particular space. But the question is, what is that which the law enforcement agencies are doing? Law enforcement agencies will continue to raid, but will focus on those who are committing crime. If we get there, we find the ordinary South African seated there because of doesn't have an accommodation and doesn't commit any crime, surely we won't arrest that particular person. We find the undocumented person, we'll arrest them for Immigration Act. We find the drugs, we'll arrest. This is what we will do. But if the municipality is not doing their part, it will just be a vicious cycle whereby we raid, we arrest those we arrest, but it will continue forever. But what is going to happen with that building? The disaster management, they are busy combing up the area, they are sweeping floor by floor, and as soon as they've cleared everything in the building, they will hand over the scene to the SAPS to do the preliminary investigation. But what is going to happen for sure is that the inquest docket will be open for those people who died there, and so that the court may determine what is the causes of death, who can be held responsible for the death of those people. But we convey our sincere condolences to the families of the deceased.